G'day everyone, it's Peter McDonald and Bruce Ind, and we are producing these videos on the land of the Kaurna people. So we recognise we have an ongoing relationship with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in our local region and across the state and across the nation, and are committed to working towards reconciliation. Bruce, when I started talking to you about making these videos, I had this moment where I suddenly realised I had the insight that actually in our language, we have a whole lot of words that are sight related that are actually a metaphor. They're a metaphor for understanding. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I certainly have, and have went, oh gosh, can you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Tell us what goes through your mind when you're...
Peter, it's not only quarantine to those people who've got good sight. The number of blind people that I'm aware of who end their conversations or interactions with other people who are blind by saying "see you later," is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, the thing is, language is a really powerful tool of inclusion, but it should not be a barrier. And when you're dealing with a person with disability, depending on, obviously, when you don't know the person, you've got to be pretty careful. But certainly, once you learn about a person's particular stance and a particular comfort level, you're quite amazed. I think you'd be quite amazed at the way that language doesn't really mean as much, perhaps, to people with disability as it might. I'm only speaking from my own personal experience, and I understand that there may be others who are blind who have a completely different point of view. And as a consequence of that, I think that we always need to be aware of the other, just like, for example, as we are in other situations, in other social situations where we might meet with different people that we're not particularly familiar with. The subjects that we choose to use to engage with socially, I think are pretty important. And I guess adding another layer of complexity when you're dealing with a person with disability is that's a challenge, isn't it?
Bruce, you would know in our scriptures there's stories around Jesus interacting with the blind man. I'm sure you've thought about this, and what stands out to you from those stories?
I used to think, oh, everybody's looking at me now, but fortunately I couldn't see them. But I think that one of the things we need to recognise is that there are a range of stories in our scriptures that are familiar to us all, which deal with disabilities of different type. We've got the blind person.
Yep. We've
got the person who was living among the pigs.
Yep.
And we've got the people. We've got other examples.
Skin diseases,
the lepers, and so on. I mean, that's an interesting exercise, isn't it, in human nature? Because Jesus meets the lepers, he heals them, and only one comes back. And what does that say about me as a person with disability and my interactions with others? I need to actually understand that I don't have more right to concern or consideration than others, and I certainly need to be grateful for the actions that are taken to assist in my engagement with activities within a community, and I think that that's a really important thing for those of us with disabilities to continue to think about as well.
Is there anything else you want to highlight to us from our conversation about Scripture?
I think that Scripture opens us up to a range of ideas that help us to grow closer to God, and I think that we need to pay particular attention to the meaning behind the stories that are provided in our biblical text.
Do you want to give us an example of one?
Well, like for example, we can not only be physically blind, but we can be emotionally blind. We can be religiously blind. We can be all sorts of blind, and the fact that Jesus is able to treat that blindness for that particular blind person is an indication that Jesus has the capacity to treat our blindness, whatever that might be, our short-sightedness, perhaps we should say, our short-sightedness. Jesus encourages us to be people of the way, to be open to and interactive with all sorts of people that we come across, and to actually show them love and to walk with them.
Bruce, thank you for giving us some insight into this passage today.
Thank you.